Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Crack UPSC CSE English. In our crash course targeted for Prelims 2021 Inspire, today we'll start with the state legislature. Yes, as we have covered in previous session, Chief Minister and Council of Ministers. Now today we'll learn about state legislature. Yes friends, it's my pleasure to welcome you all on Unacademy, India's largest learning platform, where you will get unlimited access for live and recorded classes, structured courses, and live tests. It's me, Rushikesh Inamdar, guiding UPSC aspirants from last 8 years. You can follow me on Unacademy and also you can join our Telegram group using this link. Yes friends, today is the last day to grab the opportunity to get 20 books of UPSC CSE worth rupees 10,000 in free of cost with minimum 1 year subscription. So friends, you can opt this offer today itself with our 1 year, 2 year and 3 year subscription. Yes friends. And also we have mega subscription offer. Yes. So those aspirants are looking for 1 year plan. We will provide you the validity of that plan till next preliminary examination, that is Prelims 2022. And for the 2 year plan, you will get validity till next preliminary examination, that is preliminary examination of 2023. Yes, do not forget to use code RBI Life. Yes, and offer is valid till 20th April. Yes. Friends, those aspirants are looking for our paid courses. We have plus and iconic courses available on our platform. Yes. So in this platform, you will get 10% discount after using referral code RBI Live. Yes. So friends, in 10% discount on our paid courses, along with that, in our paid courses, you will get structured courses. We have India's top educators on our platform. They will guide you for the preparation of civil services. And also, you will get 10% discount using this code on your optional subscription. Yes, we have this combo subscription offers. Yes. So friends, here also you can opt for 1 year, 2 year or 3 year subscription plan in this combo. And here also you will eligible to get 10% discount after using referral code RBI Live. So friends, why I am insisting you to use code RBI Live? Because after using this code, you will join our platform and where I will guide you throughout your preparation. Yes, those aspirants pursuing their graduation and those aspirants are planning to start their preparation after their 12th examination, they can opt for our iconic subscription. Yes, in this iconic subscription, we will provide you all the features of our plus courses along with study planner, expert guidelines and personal guidance throughout the preparation. So friends, hurry up and start your preparation with our iconic subscription. Yes. So friends, we'll start today's session with state legislature. So as we have covered the constitutional provisions related with Chief Minister, Governor and Council of Ministers. Now today we'll learn about state legislature. Yes. So friends, the state legislature occupies a prominent and central position in the political system of a a state. Yes. So, as we know, at the central level, parliament is there, and for the state, we have the procedure for state legislature. Yes. So, Article 168 to Article 212. Yes. Article 168 to Article 212 in Part 6 of the Constitution, which deal with the organization, composition, duration, offices, procedure, privileges, and powers of the state legislature. Yes, Article 168 to Article 212. So, though these are similar to that of Parliament, and there are some differences as well. Yes, now we'll see all those differences in our this topic. How state legislature is different from Parliament. Yes, now first we'll start with organization of the state legislature. Yes, so there is no uniformity in the organization of state legislatures. Yes, so most of the states have an unicameral system while others have a bicameral system. Now we'll see how these two systems are different from each other, unicameral and bicameral system. So at present, like till 2019, only 6 states, yes, only 6 states have two houses, that is bicameral system. Yes, so these are Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, yes, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, and Karnataka. Yes. So, in these 6 states, there are two houses at state legislature. Yes, that is Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad. Yes. So, Legislative Assembly and Legislative Council. Yes. So, earlier the Jammu Kashmir Legislative Council was abolished by the earlier J&K also have the bicameral system, but the Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Council was abolished by the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019. Yes. So, the erstwhile state of Jammu Kashmir had adopted a bicameral legislature by its own state constitution, and which was separate from the Indian constitution. Yes, but now after the enactment of Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act, Jammu Kashmir Legislative Council was abolished. Yes. Then the Tamil Nadu Legislative Council Act 2010 has not came into force. So the Legislative Council in Andhra Pradesh was revived by the Andhra Pradesh Legislative Council Act 2005. Yes, the 7th Amendment Act 1956, which provided for a Legislative Council in Madhya Pradesh. And however, a notification to this effect has to be made by the President. So far, no such notification has been made. Hence, Madhya Pradesh continue to have one house only. Yes. Now, the 22 states have unicameral system as per the 2019 survey. So, here the state legislature, which consists of the governor and state legislative assembly. Yes, governor and the legislative assembly in these 22 states, which is known as unicameral system. Yes. Now, it is the states having bicameral system. The state legislative consists of the governor, the legislative council, and the legislative assembly. Yes, the legislative council, that is Vidhan Parishad, is the upper house, second chamber or house of elders, while the legislative assembly, which is known as Vidhan Sabha, is the lower house, which is first chamber and popular house. Yes, so the constitution provides for the abolition and creation of the legislative councils in the states. Yes. So accordingly, the parliament can abolish a legislative council where it already exists or create it. Yes. So accordingly, the parliament can abolish the legislative council or create it if the legislative assembly of the concerned state passes a resolution to that effect. Yes. So such a specific resolution must be passed by the state assembly by a special majority. Yes. For the creation or abolition of legislative council, there should be a resolution passed by that state assembly, and such a specific resolution must be passed by a special majority. Yes, that is a majority of the total membership of the assembly and a majority of not less than 2/3 of the members of the assembly present and voting. Yes, so this act of parliament is not to be deemed as amendment of the constitution for the purpose of article 368 and is passed like an ordinary piece of legislation, that is by simple majority. Yes, this act of parliament is not to be deemed as an amendment of the constitution for the purposes of article 368 and is passed like an ordinary piece of legislation. Yes, that is by simple majority. So the idea of having the second chamber in the states was criticized in the Constituent Assembly on the ground that it was not representative of the people. Yes, that is delayed legislative process and that it was an expensive institution. So in our Constituent Assembly, where the idea of having a second chamber in the states was criticized. So the criticism or the people who criticize this second chamber in the states, they noted or they mentioned few objections like this second chamber or legislative council not representative of the people. Yes, it delayed legislative process and it was an expensive institution. These are the remarks by the critics on second chamber, that is legislative council at states levels, in the discussions of our Constituent Assembly. But consequently, the provision was made for the abolition and creation of a legislative council to enable a state to have a second chamber or not according to its own willingness and financial strength. So after the discussion in Constituent Assembly, our experts keep this provision in our constitution, that is, as per the state's requirement, state can pass resolution for creating or abolishing the legislative council. Now here we'll see the example. Andhra Pradesh got the legislative council created in 1957 and got the same abolished in 1985, whereas the legislative council in Andhra Pradesh was again revived in 2007. So after the enactment of the Andhra Pradesh Legislative Council Act 2005, yes, the Legislative Council of Tamil Nadu had been abolished in 1986 and that of Punjab and West Bengal in 1969. Yes. So the Legislative Council of Tamil Nadu had been abolished in 1986. That of Punjab and West Bengal was in 1969. Yes. So in 2010, the Legislative Assembly of Tamil Nadu passed a resolution for the revival of the Legislative Council in the state, and accordingly the Parliament enacted the Tamil Nadu Legislative Council Act 2010, which provided for the creation of Legislative Council in the state. Yes. So however, before this act was enforced, the Legislative Assembly of Tamil Nadu passed another resolution in 2011 seeking the abolition of the proposed Legislative Council. Yes. Now, after that, we'll see composition of two houses. Yes, composition of two houses at the state level. Yes. First, composition of assembly. So, first, provision according to strength. Yes, the Legislative Assembly consists of representatives directly elected by the people on the basis of universal adult franchise. Yes. So, the Legislative Assembly consists of representatives directly elected by the people on the basis of universal adult franchise. Yes, its maximum strength is fixed at 500 and minimum strength at 60. Yes, it's for all the states. So, the maximum number of members of the assembly is fixed at 500 and minimum strength at 60. It means that its strength varies from 60 to 500 depending on the population size of the state. Yes. So, in case of Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Goa, the minimum number is fixed at 30, and in case of Mizoram and Nagaland, it is 40 and 46, which means in case of Mizoram 40 and Nagaland 46. Yes, so further some members of the legislative assemblies in Sikkim and Nagaland are also elected indirectly. Yes, so there are provisions in regards with Sikkim and Nagaland assembly. So some members of these legislative assemblies are also elected indirectly. Yes. Then nominated members. So the governor can nominate one member from the Anglo-Indian community if the community is not adequately represented in the assembly. So, an Anglo-Indian means a person whose father or any other male progenitor in the male line is or was of European descent, but who is domiciled within the territory of India and is or was born within such territory of parents habitually resident therein and not established there for temporary purposes only. So, the provision of nominating member by the governor of Anglo-Indian community, this provision was to operate for 10 years, that is up to 1960, but this duration has been extended continuously since then by 10 years. Yes, each time. So, under the 95th Amendment Act 2009, this was last until 2020. Yes, now this nominated member into the State Legislative Assembly of Anglo-Indian community, this provision was active till 2020 only. Now, territorial constituencies. Yes, for the purpose of holding direct elections to the assembly, each state is divided into territorial constituencies. Yes, the demarcation of these constituencies is done in such a manner that the ratio between the population of each constituency and the number of seats allotted to it, it is the same throughout the state. Yes, the number of seats allotted to it is the same throughout the state. In other words, the constitution ensures that there is uniformity of representation between different constituencies in the state. So the expression population means the population as ascertained at the last preceding census, of which the relevant figures have been published. Yes. Then readjustment after each census. So after each census, a readjustment is made between the total number of seats. Yes, total number of seats in the assembly of each state and the division of each state into territorial constituencies. Yes. So our parliament is empowered to determine the authority and the manner in which it is to be made. Yes. So accordingly, parliament has enacted the Delimitation Commission Acts in 1952, 1962, 1972 and 2002 for this purpose of readjustment of constituencies. Yes, territorial constituencies after each census. Yes. So, the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Yes, 42nd Amendment Act of 1976 had frozen total number of seats in the assembly of each state and the division of such state into territorial constituencies till the year 2000. Yes, at the 1971 level. This ban on readjustment has been extended for another years, that is up to year 2026 by the 84th Amendment Act of 2001. So with the same objective of encouraging population limiting measures. So the 84th Amendment Act of 2001, which also empowered the government to undertake readjustment and rationalization of territorial constituencies in a state on the basis of the population figures of 1991 census. So later, the 87th Amendment Act of 2003, which provided for the delimitation of constituencies on the basis of 2001 census and not 1991 census. So however, this can be done without altering the total number of seats in the assembly of each state. Yes. Now, we'll see the reservation of seats for STs and STs, SCs and STs. Before that, friends, do not forget to enroll yourself for free test series by Unacademy. Yes, where Unacademy is providing free test series initiative to all aspirants, where we will cover your complete general studies and current affairs part. Just you have to use referral code, that is RBI live, to unlock these free tests. So do not forget to unlock these tests which will evaluate your preparation. Yes. And friends, these are the new batches started for, yes, for the UPSC CSE. So you can join these batches as per your convenience. We have 1 year batch, 2 year batch, NCRT batches, and also prelims targeted batches. Yes, and also Unacademy combat we are conducting on every Sunday in the morning 11 a.m. Yes, now this is available in both Hindi and English medium. Earlier only English medium was there. Now this Unacademy combat is available in Hindi medium also. So just you have to enroll yourself with code RBI Life for Unacademy combat. So upcoming Sunday morning 11 a.m. reserve your time for Unacademy combat. Yes, friends. So now we'll come to the point, that is reservation of seats for SCs and STs at the State Assembly. Yes, the Constitution provided for the reservation of seats for scheduled castes, SCs, and scheduled tribes, STs, in the assembly of each state on the basis of population ratios. Yes, this reservation of seats for SCs and STs on the basis of population ratios in the state. So this means that the number of assembly seats reserved in a state for such a caste and tribes is to be at the same proportion to the total number of seats in the assembly as the population of such castes and tribes in the concerned state bears to the total population of the state. So originally the reservation was to operate for 10 years, that is up to 1960, but this duration has been extended continuously since then, 10 years each time. So now under 95th Amendment Act of 2009, this reservation is to last until 2020. Yes. So again, this duration has been extended for next 10 years. Now, then after the assembly, we'll see the composition of council. Yes, the composition of legislative council at the state level. Yes. So, the strength. So, unlike the members of the Legislative Assembly, the members of the Legislative Council are indirectly elected. Yes, just remember the difference where in the Assembly, members of the Legislative Assembly are directly elected by people, whereas members of the Legislative Council are indirectly elected. Yes, the maximum strength of the council is fixed at one-third of the total strength of the assembly, and the minimum strength is fixed at 40. So the minimum strength fixed at 40 by the Constitution of India was not applicable to the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, and its council had 36 members under the provisions of its own state constitution. But now this council is abolished. Yes, in 2019. So it means that the size of the council depends on the size of the assembly of the concerned state. Yes, the size of the legislative council depends on the size of the legislative assembly of that state. So this is done to ensure the predominance of the directly elected house in the legislative affairs of the state. So though the constitution has fixed the maximum and the minimum limits, the actual strength of a council is fixed by parliament. Yes, now we'll see the manner of election in legislative council. So, of the total number of members of a legislative council, that is, one-third are elected. Yes, one-third members of legislative council are elected by the members of local bodies in the state like municipalities, district boards, etc. Yes, 1/12 are elected by graduates of 3 year standing and residing within the state. 1/12 members are elected by teachers of 3 year standing in the state and not lowering standard than secondary school. Yes. Fourth, one-third are elected by the members of the Legislative Assembly of the state from among the persons who are not members of the Assembly, and the remainder are nominated by the governor from among persons who have a special knowledge and practical experience of literature, science, art, cooperative movement, and social service. Yes, thus 5/6 of the total number of members of legislative council are indirectly elected and 1/6 are nominated by the governor. So the members are elected in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means a single transferable vote, whereas the bona fide or property of the governor's nomination in any case cannot be challenged in the court. Yes, bona fide or propriety of the governor's nomination in any case cannot be challenged in the court. Yes, so the scheme of composition of legislative council as laid down in the constitution is tentative and not final. So the parliament is authorized to modify or replace the same. However, it has not enacted any such law so far. But our parliament has power or authority to modify or replace the system for the manner of election in the state legislative assembly. Yes. Now, after that, we'll see duration of two houses. So, first, duration of assembly. Yes. So, like the Lok Sabha, the Legislative Assembly is not a continuing chamber. So, its normal term is 5 years. Yes, State Legislative Assembly has normal term is 5 years from the date of its first meeting after the general elections. So, the term of Legislative Assembly of the Eastwide state of Jammu Kashmir was 6 years under its own state constitution. Yes, this was before 2019 Reorganization Act. So the expiration of the period of 5 years operates as automatic dissolution of the assembly. And however, the governor is authorized to dissolve the assembly at any time, that is even before the completion of 5 years, to pave the way for fresh elections. Yes, duration of legislative assembly. Yes, its normal term is 5 years. But the governor is authorized to dissolve the assembly at any time by the advice of Council of Ministers. Yes. So, the term of assembly can be extended during the period of national emergency by a law of parliament for 1 year at a time for any length of time. Yes, and this extension cannot be continued beyond a period of 6 months after the emergency has ceased to operate. So this means that the assembly should be re-elected within 6 months after the revocation of emergency. Yes. After the duration of assembly, we'll see the duration of council. So the Rajya Sabha, like the Rajya Sabha, the Legislative Council is continuing chamber. So it is a permanent body and is not subject to dissolution. But 1/3 of its members retired on the expiration of every second year. Yes, the member continues as such for 6 years. The term for members of Legislative Council is 6 years, and the vacant seats are filled up by fresh elections and nominations. Yes, at the beginning of every third year. So, the retiring members are also eligible for re-election and re-nomination any number of times. Yes. So this is the duration of council. Now we'll see the membership of state legislature. Yes, first, qualification. So the constitution lays down the following qualifications for a person to be chosen a member of the state legislature. Yes, that is MLA. He must be MLA or MLC. He must be a citizen of India. He must make and subscribe to an oath or affirmation before the person authorized by the Election Commission for this purpose. Yes. Then, in his oath or affirmation, he swears to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India. Yes, to uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India. A person must be not less than 30 years in the case of Legislative Council and not less than 25 years of age in the case of Legislative Assembly. Yes, he must possess other qualifications prescribed by Parliament. So this is the qualifications for the membership of state legislature. Must be a citizen of India. Yes, he must make a subscribe to an oath and affirmation before the person authorized by the election commission for this purpose, where in this oath and affirmation he swears to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India and to uphold the sovereignty and integrity of our country India. Yes. Then he must possess other qualifications prescribed by Parliament. So accordingly, the Parliament has laid down the following additional qualifications in the RPA 1951, the Representation of People Act 1951. So, a person to be elected to the Legislative Council must be an elected for an assembly constituency in the concerned state and to be qualified for the governor's nomination. Yes, he must be a resident in the concerned state. Yes, a person to be elected to the Legislative Assembly must be an elector for an assembly constituency in the concerned state. Yes, he must be a member of a scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe if he wants to contest a seat reserved for them. And however, a member of scheduled caste or scheduled tribes can also contest a seat not reserved for them. Yes. Now, we'll see the disqualifications. Yes. Under the Constitution, a person shall be disqualified for being chosen as, for being a member of Legislative Assembly or Legislative Council of a state if he holds any office of profit under the union or state government except that of minister or any other office exempted by state legislature. Yes. So, a minister in the union or state government is not to consider as holding an office of profit, and also the state legislature can declare that a particular office of profit will not disqualify its holder from its membership. Yes. If he is So, a person shall be disqualified if he is of unsound mind and stands to declared by court. Yes, a person shall be disqualified if he is an undischarged insolvent. Yes, if he is not a citizen of India or has voluntarily acquired the citizenship of a foreign state or is under any acknowledgement of allegiance to a foreign state. Yes, in case of he is so disqualified under any law made by Parliament. Yes, from time to time, Parliament is empowered to make laws regarding the disqualification of member of state legislature. So accordingly, the Parliament has prescribed a number of additional disqualifications in the RPA Act 1951, Representation of People Act 1951. Yes, these are similar to those for Parliament. So these are mentioned here, like he must not have been found guilty of certain election offences or corrupt practices in the elections. Yes, a person must not have been convicted for any offence resulting in imprisonment for 2 or more years, but the detention of a person under a preventing detention law is not a disqualification. Yes, he must not have failed to lodge an account of his election expenses within the time. He must not have any interest in government contracts, works, or services. He must not be a director or managing agent, nor hold an office of profit in a corporation in which the government has the least 25% share. He must not have been dismissed from government service for corruption or disloyalty to the state. Yes, he must not have been convicted for promoting enmity between different groups or for the offense of bribery. Yes, he must not have been punished for preaching and practicing social crimes such as untouchability, dowry, and sati. So, on the question whether a member has become subject to any of above disqualifications, the governor's decision is final. Yes, however, he should obtain the opinion of the Election Commission and act accordingly. Yes. Now, we'll see the disqualification on ground of defection. Yes. So the Constitution also lays down that a person shall be disqualified for being a member of either house of state legislature if he is so disqualified on the ground of defection under the provision of the 10th schedule of our Indian Constitution, which talks about the defection. Yes. So the question of disqualification under the 10th schedule is decided by the chairman. So in the case of Legislative Council and Speaker in the case of Legislative Assembly and not by the governor. So in 1992, the Supreme Court ruled that the decision of chairman speaker in this regard is subject to judicial review. Yes, so in 1992, the Supreme Court ruled the decision of chairman and speaker in this regard is subject to judicial review. Yes. Now after that, we'll see the oath and affirmation of members. So every member of either house of the state legislature, before taking his seat in the house, he has to make and subscribe an oath or affirmation before the governor or some person appointed by governor for this purpose. Yes, in this oath, a member of the state legislature swears to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India, to uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, to faithfully discharge the duty of his office. So unless a member takes the oath, he cannot vote and participate in the proceedings of the House and does not become eligible to the privileges and immunities of the state legislature. So a person is liable to a penalty of ₹500 for each day he sits or votes as a member in a house. So before taking a subscribing the prescribed oath or affirmation, or when he knows that he is not qualified or that he is disqualified for its membership, when person knows that he is prohibited from sitting or voting in the house. Yes. So when person knows that he is prohibited from sitting or voting in the house by virtue of any law made by parliament or the state legislature. So members of a state legislature are entitled to receive such salaries and allowances as may from time to time be determined by the state legislature. Yes. So members of state legislature are entitled to receive such salaries and allowances as may from time to time be determined by the state legislature. Yes. Now we'll see vacation of seats. So there are various cases a member of state legislature vacates his seat. Yes. Whereas first scenario of double membership. What is meant by double membership? So a person cannot be a member of both houses of state legislature at one and the same time. Yes. If a person is elected to both the houses, like in Legislative Assembly and Legislative Council, then his seat in one of the houses falls vacant as per the provisions of law made by the state legislature, which means at a time person cannot be a member of both houses of the state legislature. Then disqualification. Yes, if a member of the state legislature becomes subject to any of the disqualifications, his seat becomes vacant. Yes. So second case for disqualification for the vacation of seats. Then third is resignation. So member may resign his seat by writing to the chairman of Legislative Council or Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, as the case may be. So the seat falls vacant when the resignation is accepted. However, the chairman and speaker need not accept the resignation if he is satisfied that it is not voluntary or genuine. This is the discretionary power of chairman and speaker. Yes, chairman of Legislative Council and the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly. So third case of a resignation. Then fourth one is absence. So House of the State Legislature can be declared the seat of a member vacant if he absent himself from all its meetings for a period of 60 days without its permission. Yes. So House of the State Legislature can declare the seat of a member vacant if he absent himself from all its meeting for a period of 60 days without its permission. Then there are few other cases for the vacation of seat, like a member has to vacate his seat in the either house of state legislature if his election is declared void by the court. Yes, if that person is expelled by the house, if he is elected to the office of, yes, if the member of legislative assembly or council is elected to the office of president or office of the vice president of India, then that seat falls vacant. And if he is appointed to the office of governor of a state, yes, in these scenarios also a member has to vacate his seat in the either house of state legislature. Yes. So that's it for today's session, and remaining provisions related to state legislature will cover in the next session. Yes. So friends, just have a recap what we have covered today. Yes. So we have started with state legislature. Before that, friends, announcement for all of you. So Unacademy is providing study material in writing format, that is 20 books. You will get this 20 books worth rupees 10,000 is absolutely free with our 1 year subscription. Like if you will go with 1 year, 2 year or 3 year subscription, you will get these books absolutely free, and validity of this offer is today midnight. Yes, so today 14th April is the last date for this complimentary books with your subscription of minimum 1. Yes, so friends, just have a recap what we have covered in today's session. So we have started with state legislature. Yes, so article 168 to 212 of our Indian Constitution under part 6, which deal with the state legislature, like the organization, composition, duration, officers, procedures, privileges, powers of the state legislature. Yes, then we have covered organization of state legislature. Yes, like unicameral system and bicameral system. Yes, so we have Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra and Karnataka. bicameral system of legislature? Yes, the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019, which abolished Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Council. Then we have studied the cases of few states related with the creating and abolition of state legislative council. Yes, so state legislative council, which means Vidhan Parishad, that is the upper house and also known as House of Elders, whereas the legislative assembly is the Vidhan Sabha, is the lower house, which is also known as popular house. Yes. Then we have covered composition of two houses. Yes, that is composition of assembly, strength, nominated member, territorial constituencies, readjustment after each census in the total number of seats in the assembly, and also the territorial constituency, division of each state into territorial constituencies. Then we have studied the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976, which had frozen total number of seats in the assembly of each state. Then we have covered reservation of seats for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Yes, so the reservation of the seats for SCs and STs in the assembly of each state on the basis of population ratios. Then we have covered composition of council with the provision of strength, manner of election. Yes, then we have covered duration of two houses, legislative council and assembly. Yes, then we have covered membership of a state legislature. Yes, qualifications, disqualifications, and then disqualification on ground of defection, and then oath or affirmation. Yes, then we have covered vacation of seats, like double membership, disqualification, resignation, absence, and other cases. So friends, that's it for today's session. See you in the next lecture with the continuation part of State Legislature Part 2. Till that time, do not forget to join our Telegram group. You can also enroll yourself for Unacademy Combat using code RBI Live, and also you can use code RBI Live to get 10% discount in our paid courses. So do not forget to like, share and subscribe videos of Unacademy. So keep studying, keep revising. See you in the next lecture. Till the time, all the best, take care, thank you.